Ray Brown's Talkin' Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
By Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty. Their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com. And by Hog Island Audubon Camp. For full camp schedule, program details, and to register, visit hogisland.audubon.org.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome to our show number 1037. And if you're listening live, happy Mother's Day. Our show today will feature, among other things, making your yard bird-friendly and keeping your thirsty birds healthy. Meanwhile, an update on last week's International Plastic Pellet Hunt, when volunteers combed waterways across the U.S. and beyond, searching for and collecting plastic pellets, also known as nurdles, those little things that are made into plastic bottles and bags and all kinds of other plastic stuff, and that are spilled in staggering numbers in the process of shipping and delivering. Estimates suggest that every year some 10 trillion of these plastic pellets enter our oceans, polluting waters and fouling shorelines, and causing severe harm to fish and mammals and birds and ultimately people. Participants in more than 300 of the places covered have delivered their results. So far, more than 38,000 plastic pellets already collected. They'll be finalizing the data in coming weeks, and we'll report on that here. We're about to listen to an audio postcard from the middle of a U.S. state in the middle of the USA. It's Iowa, the Hawkeye State.
All right, hi Ray, this is Megan Fox from Holy Trinity, and I have my birding club kids here today. We've been out at Saylorville Lake area. I've been birding. Hello. And we can say hello, guys. Hello. And we can hear lots of red-winged blackbirds and some grackles and also some cowbirds. And we saw American goldfinches, we saw northern flicker, we saw blue heron, and an eagle, a bald eagle. So we had a great birding day, and we also picked up litter, so we did some flirting. We did see a hawk. We did some flirting today, too. So, all right, everyone say happy birding. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birding!
Happy birding, birding students, and thank you so much, Megan Fox. And thanks for that flirting. That's picking up litter while birding. By the way, Megan was a guest on our show back in October. We'd like to refer you to that, October 13th. It was show number 1007. And this is our mystery bird. Not the actual contest now, just a preview. We'll do the contest later in the show. This is to get you ready for it with the introduction, with the sound of the bird and some clues like this. Our mystery bird is a medium-sized, stocky songbird with a large head and a large, heavy bill. The male is red, red, and red. Females and immatures are bright yellow-green. Our bird, which summers throughout the southeast quadrant of the U.S. mainland and across parts of the southwest to southern California, feeds by sallying out from tree perches to catch insects in mid-air or by gleaning insects along the branches. Sounds a little bit like our featured bird, which we'll hear in just a bit, but that's our mystery bird. Beautiful prizes include something wonderful to read and something delicious to drink while reading or anytime. We have a 1-year subscription to the new birding magazine BWD, founded in 1978 as Birdwatchers Digest, now back and better than ever, and a big bag of our favorite coffee, shade-grown, bird-friendly, truly delicious birds and beans coffee, all on the Mystery Bird Contest. And here's our weekly salute. We're very grateful to be able to have more new ambassadors joining up all the time so we can keep saluting one every week. And we want to say thank you to Karen from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, She says, just discovered the show in my quest for a break from the U.S. news. I've always loved birds, and I'm excited to learn more and become part of the community. Well, thank you, Karen, for becoming part of the Talkin' Birds community and our ambassadors family. Ambassadors are listeners who help us spread the word about our show. We send them little cards that they can hand out at their leisure. To sign up as an ambassador, it's really easy to do. Just go to talkinbirds.com, no G in talkin', and click on the Get Involved tab up at the top of the page there at the home page at talkinbirds.com. Still to come today, we'll talk with Danae Wolfe about her marvelous and practical new book, Grass Isn't Greener, the everyday conservationist's guide to bringing nature to your yard. Also today, Mike O'Connor will join us for a Let's Ask Mike segment almost live from the archive that we're calling The Problem with Puddles. And up next, from the top tier of tyrants, tyrant family flycatchers that is, comes today's featured feathered friend.
The great crested flycatcher commands respect. This robin-sized perching bird is long and lean, broad-shouldered, and bold. It has a big-headed look thanks to its peaked brown crown, and its striking looks are enhanced by its bright yellow belly and rusty brown tail. Male and female look alike. Its familiar wheep call almost seems to say, "Hey you, come over here." The great crested flycatcher hunts from treetop perches, bobbing its head as it surveys the scene, then swooping down, often stopping midair to snatch insect prey. It'll also forage on leaves, branches, and on the ground for crickets, beetles, and spiders, as well as plant food, especially berries, which they swallow whole before regurgitating the pits. The great crested flycatcher breeds all over eastern portions of the U.S., as far west as Texas and North Dakota. It prefers mixed woodlands and the edges of clearings more than dense forest areas. It's the only eastern flycatcher that nests in cavities, and it will use nest boxes. And these birds will often line their nests with snakeskin. Why do they do this? Well, just this past December, a team of Cornell University and Cornell Lab of Ornithology researchers confirmed a long-held theory that some cavity-nesting birds, including the great crested flycatcher, use shed snakeskin to deter would-be predators from eating their eggs and nestlings, noting that potential predators like flying squirrels and chipmunks are hardwired to avoid any sign of snakes. If snakeskin isn't available, although the effect might not be the same, the birds will sometimes use onion skin, cellophane, or all too readily available plastic wrappers instead. Today's respect-demanding featured feathered friend, Myarchus crinitus, the great crested flycatcher.
Welcome again to our show, number 1037. Danae Wolfe is an award-winning conservation photographer, writer, educator, and TEDx speaker focused on fostering appreciation and stewardship of backyard bugs and wildlife. Ever the pragmatic, she believes that everyone has the power to make a difference in combating climate change and biodiversity loss. She was the 2022 recipient of the Garden Communicators International Emergent Communicator Award, and her work has been featured in various outlets, including CNN, the American Gardener magazine, and Nature Conservancy magazine. Through her community conservation initiative, Chasing Bugs, she has reached global audiences with science-based education about the importance of gardening for biodiversity, and she's inspired gardeners to appreciate the beauty of our natural world and to embrace their role in its protection. Her new book is Grass Isn't Greener, the Everyday Conservationist's Guide to Bringing Nature to Your Yard. and she's here to tell us a bit about the book. Good morning, Danae.
Good morning, Ray. Thank you so much for having me.
We're so glad to have you. Thank you. We are looking at the introduction of your book, Danae, and that's entitled Ecology in the Anthropocene. I think a fair definition is something like this, referring to the time period we've entered in which humans have become the dominant force in shaping the composition and physical processes of our planet. Is it fair to say that sort of provides a framework for your book?
It does. I like to tell people that the introduction to the book kind of starts with the bad news and how humans have altered the planet. But I think too often with climate change and loss of biodiversity, we tend to focus on a narrative that preaches the sort of radical and urgent change needed to make a difference. And I want to kind of give this more hopeful narrative. What can we do to make a difference? So while we talk about the age of the Anthropocene and how much impact humans have had, we also set the stage for, okay, well, what can we do about it in our own backyards? How can we empower change at sort of the individual level?
Well, kind of following up on that, although earlier in your book you have a paragraph there that I want to ask you to read there on page 7.
So in the preface, this, again, sort of sets the stage for what's to come. And that is, we've created ecological imbalance in our pursuit of a garden aesthetic. But how might our gardens look and function differently if we instead viewed them through the lens of supporting wildlife and building ecological function rather than through the lens of form and beauty that only appeals to us humans? What if we celebrated our gardens as an oasis of shelter and sustenance for wildlife who have called this land home for millennia, instead of lamenting over holes in leaves and nibbled blooms? What if we came to understand that creating spaces that support wildlife simultaneously provides a multitude of benefits for us people as well?
They were here before we were, but we can still share the landscape with them. I know certainly native plants are really important, and you emphasize that certainly in the book, but you also say that a more holistic approach is needed. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I think if we look at the landscape of gardening for wildlife, the dominant narrative is just that. It's plant native. And I think a lot of the movement sort of starts and ends with that narrative. If we just restore native plants in our landscapes, then we'll bring back the wildlife and everything will be just wonderful. And that is true. Native plants are foundational to gardening for wildlife, but I think we do need to think a little bit more holistically. So Grass Isn't Greener covers 20 different topics. Yes, we start with the basics of understanding your landscape. Yes, I go into the importance of native gardening and why we need to remove invasive plants, for example, from the landscape. But I talk about a lot of other things too. There's a whole chapter just about supporting birds and the ways that we can do that, even through things like reducing the sort of vulnerability that birds have for like window strikes. How can we make our windows more bird friendly, for example? One of my favorite chapters was about holiday decor. How does our like Halloween or sort of Christmas, holiday decorations, how can they impact wildlife and how can we make a difference to sort of reduce those risks that we put out there? So it's really about taking a much more holistic approach. And you'll see through the book, there's just little tips and hints and projects that people can engage in that take that next step beyond just, hey, go plant a bunch of native plant gardens, which again is foundationally important, but there's a lot more to it than that.
Well, the great Doug Tallamy, whom you know, has been on our show. In fact, he's made some wonderful and supportive comments about your book, and I know he'd appreciate this chapter, Lessen the Lawn, cutting back on the amount of grass in your yard. And you have some practical techniques about that. Expand on that for us a bit, if you would.
Yeah. So lessening the lawn, like first and foremost, just I think redefining what we view as beautiful in the landscape is really important to this. A lot of people still, I think, hold on to the idea of a predominantly monoculture of turf grass landscape as being sort of just a marker of beauty. So redefining what we find beautiful in our home landscapes is really important. And there are a variety of ways to do that. So the book kind of outlines a couple of different ways that you can, from a practical standpoint, begin to get rid of turf grass and sort of the pros and cons of each of those methods and really how to, kind of create that blank canvas, if you will, for beginning to bring native plants back into your landscape and then create really resiliency and just a diversity of habitat and food sources for wildlife that you can invite into your home landscape.
You have a chapter about bees and their importance as pollinators, along with other insects as well. And you also have a few words about bug zappers and why we don't really want bug zappers or gas-powered leaf blowers. Some really good information about that. So, Danae, according to the Chinese proverb, you write, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. But what kind of tree should you plant? If you're interested in supporting wildlife, the answer is easy. And your answer is, Danae?
The answer is an oak tree. Oaks support such a great diversity of species, namely our lepidopterans. And if you don't know what lepidopterans are, those are our moths and butterflies, which are beautiful in and of themselves, but of course their caterpillars also provide tremendous food sources for a number of wildlife, namely birds that need them to rear their young. So for the birders, you'll want to plant an oak tree.
All right. And there's an entire chapter, by the way, entitled Create a Bird-Friendly Backyard. So tying in with all of that. Another one about backyard scientists, citizen science and community science, and also the difference between those two things. And then your last chapter, while we just have a moment to go here, Danae, your last chapter in the book is called Think Beyond the Backyard. I wonder if you'd make a few comments about that.
Yeah, so Grass Isn't Greener really focuses on what we can do right at home, but I didn't want the book to just end there. So the final chapter is really about helping people see their yards, not just as this isolated patch, but as part of a larger ecological and cultural shift. So the last chapter is really an invitation to think bigger, to connect with neighbors, to start those conversations, and to help influence local change. And that could look like helping to update HOA guidelines to allow more native plantings and biodiversity. It could look like supporting local policies or legislators that protect biodiversity. I think that true change happens when we start to link these small personal actions into a much wider movement. So yeah, sure, start in your own backyard, but don't stop there.
A marvelous book. It's Grass Isn't Greener, the Everyday Conservationist's Guide to Bringing Nature to Your Yard. It's available. It will be available on May 13th, available wherever books are sold, so do look for it. It is a wonderful and very practical book. Danae, thanks so much for being with us, and good luck with the book.
Thank you so much for having me, Ray.
That's Danae Wolfe here on Talking Birds. And up next, it's our Mystery Bird contest in just 1 minute.
The flutter of a tail feather, the flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com.
There it is again. It's our mystery bird. And this is the beginning of the actual contest here. We're done with that preview business. What's that bird? Give us a call and tell us what it is and win one of these beautiful prizes. I'll give you the number here, and I'll repeat it in a moment. 781-837-4900. Our mystery bird is a medium-sized, stocky songbird with kind of a large head and a large, heavy bill. The male is red, red, and red. Females and immatures are bright yellow-green. Our bird, which summers throughout the southeast quadrant of the U.S. mainland pretty much and across parts of the southwest to southern California, feeds by sallying out from tree perches to catch insects in midair or by gleaning insects along tree branches. That's something about our bird, and beautiful prizes include that one-year subscription to the new birding magazine, BWD, each issue packed with beautiful photography and illustrations and in-depth articles by renowned experts, including Julie Zicafus and many others. And we have a big bag of our favorite coffee that's grown under the natural forest canopy in Central America to preserve wintering habitat for birds, and that is bird-friendly, shade-grown, delicious birds and beans coffee. Prizes on our Mystery Bird Contest. Give us a call as soon as you can at 781-837-4900. And meanwhile, let's ask Mike here in just 1 minute.
Hog Island Audubon Camp has welcomed nature enthusiasts to its shores since 1936. It's a program of the Seabird Institute, and the island hosts 5-night sessions for adults, teens, and families taught by the world's leading naturalists, ornithologists, and artists. Hog Island campers deepen their relationships with the birds and the ecosystems around them during the island's immersive educational camps. New for the 2025 camp season is Let's Go Birding Together. Scheduled during peak fall migration, this session is a safe space for queer birders to connect with nature and each other while learning ways to foster a similar environment in their community's home. For full Hog Island schedule, program details, and to register, visit hogisland.audubon.org.
Mike O'Connor is holding at the legendary Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod, and all of a sudden I can't seem to hear anything in my headphones here. I wonder what just happened, because I'm going to have to be able to hear in my headphones if I'm going to be able to talk to Mike. I'm going to try switching, Jesse, to another pair of headphones here and see if that helps out. Oh, wait, they just came back. As soon as you walked in the door, Jesse, they came back. That is amazing. Only Jesse could do that. Let's see. I think we're going to talk to Mike O'Connor. I think he might be on the line there. Good morning, Mike.
I'm doing the show in sign language today. Don't worry about it, right?
Well, as long as it works, we don't care what kind of language.
I like that you gave it the. Yeah, you'd be lousy during the war. Gave the clue away during the introduction.
Yeah, at least I didn't give the entire name of the bird. I did that once, but that was. I've learned since then. But that's okay.
You're getting better.
Yeah, it's okay. It's get a little extra. It's just another clue, that's all. Just think of it as another clue. But I mean, and here you are, a guy that wants to talk about puddles. So what can I say?
Right. This is it. I mean, we all get upset over oil spills, and then on your show, you have done some good work on things that we take for granted that are actually bad, like straws. You had a campaign, and we reduced the number of straws people don't really need, or balloons, those Mylar and plastic balloons and plastic bags. Well, I got another one, and this one's easy. It's puddles. We got to get rid of puddles. And not just because, you want to keep your car clean when you're driving down the road. Mm-hmm. But I was going to work the other day, and there was a whole flock of goldfinches drinking out of a puddle on the street not far from my house. Mm-hmm. The trouble was it hadn't rained in weeks, or at least days. So there was no reason for that puddle to be there. And I started thinking, every time somebody washes his or her car, or washes the dog, or cleans the grill, or washes out some disgusting thing, or like trash can, you just rinse out your trash can, you just dump it in the driveway or on the road, and it sits in a puddle, birds will come along and drink it. And I decided we have to pay more attention, at least me and hopefully other people, with how water gathers. We just have to pay a little bit more attention to that, because when you wash the white walls on your car, Ray, and rinse it off, that detergent goes into a puddle, and then you walk away, and eventually it'll evaporate. But meanwhile, a flock of waxwings or something could come, or warblers, could come and drink out of the puddle, and they'll ingest some of that toxin. So my advice is, and this is easy, once you've done cleaning whatever you're doing, just if you see a puddle, just hose it out, disperse it, or push it away with a broom or something like that, so the water doesn't sit there for birds to come along and drink it. And if you get a hose that's safe for drinking water, especially when you're filling your bird bath. A lot of these garden hoses have lead in them. Go buy a lead-free, water-safe drinking hose. And that's all I got. I want to go hear more about the mystery bird now.
Yeah, that's a lot. So if that's all you got, thank you so much. Thank you, Mike. Talk to you next week.
Okay. Yeah.
Mike O'Connor at the famous Birdwatchers General Store. And we're back to the mystery bird, which is already singing, or the contest, and the bird is actually singing. What is that bird? Natalie in Raleigh, North Carolina might know. Let's find out. Hello, Natalie.
Hey, Ray.
Hi. Welcome to the show, Natalie from Raleigh. And you heard that bird and all that. And, well, what do you think the bird is? Or what do you say it is?
I think it's a summer tanager.
A beautiful summer tanager. Often described as the only all-red bird in North America. It has a kind of bright red body and then a kind of a little darker red on the wings and I think on the tail, but still qualifying for all red. This is a bird that, by the way, looks kind of like a cardinal, like a northern cardinal, which shouldn't be surprising because although this bird was once classified with the true tanagers, it's now considered to be part of the cardinal family. There's a little extra thing.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, speaking of interesting, Mike talked about puddles, especially like if you're washing your car, you can get all that stuff in a puddle in your yard, which is not good for the birds. So we have a car question as a bonus question this morning. Would you like to try it?
Sure, I'll give it a shot.
All right. And we're also, we're fans of electric cars here, so it's also an electric car question. Here we go. Quite a few cars have been named for birds over the years. Ford Falcon, Jeep Golden Eagle, Buick Skylark are a few examples. That list now includes some new electric vehicles. Which one of the following is one of those new bird-named EVs? This would really be kind of a random guess, but we'll see how we do. Is it A, the Tesla Tern, B, the Lucid Lark, C, the A-Spark Owl, or D, the Hyundai House Sparrow? I'm guessing it's probably not that last one, but I could be wrong. What do you think is the right answer, Natalie?
I'm just going to guess C.
C, which is the A-Spark Owl. That is what we call a great guess, not just a top quality guess. The right guess, there, the A-Spark Owl. That's good intuition on your part. This is an ultra-high performance EV from Japan. They say maybe the fastest accelerating car in the world, doing 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds. And if you want one, you need to hurry and possibly empty your piggy bank as well. The manufacturer says that only 50 A-Spark Owls will be built with a price tag of around $3 million each. What do you think, Natalie? You ready to go out and grab one of those when they come out?
Yeah, I don't think in this lifetime. But they should have named it since it's so fast, they should have named it the Peregrine Falcon or something.
I'm going to send them a note and make that suggestion. See what maybe I'll get a discount.
Maybe they'll give me one for free.
Yeah, it'll have to be a big discount. All right. Natalie, thank you so much. Stay on the line, and Jesse and Paul will get your info and send those prizes to you. Or see that they're sent to you. Did we lose Natalie? I guess maybe we did. All right. Well, thank you again, Natalie. And that's about it for our show this morning. I want to give a little plug to our Patreon thing. It's a wonderful way to support our show if you have a mind to, with a little financial support. Patreon.com is the place. Just put Talkin' Birds in there, patreon.com. Next week, well, as many Talkin' Birds listeners know, cemeteries can be great places for birding. Next week, we'll find out more about that when we welcome wildlife biologist Danielle Bellany with her secrets of cemetery birding. See you next week.
The bird show. I like that. I love it.
Ray Brown's Talkin' Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
By Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty. Their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com. And by Hog Island Audubon Camp. For full camp schedule, program details, and to register, visit hogisland.audubon.org.